Hola, hola, amigas. Welcome to another episode of Modern Latina in Midlife. I am Sonia Flores, transformational coach, energy healer, spiritual medium, and your host. So, I have been doing a lot of work. If you've been following along on myself, I'm always doing work. I'm always a student of life, always trying to just improve myself, do the work, right? Work on my shadows, work on removing blocks, work on whatever areas I'm stuck in. And this summer, I've been working on receiving and being more in my divine feminine and listening more to my spirit guides. And, it was about that time for me to have a session with my very own spiritual medium. Now, as healers and as mediums and as coaches, we also need our own healers and our own coaches and our own guides and healers and all the things, spiritual mediums, to help us continue growing as well. So just because we are in a position to be a coach to somebody else or a healer to somebody else or a spiritual medium to somebody else doesn't mean that we don't need our own as well. And so it was time for me to have my session with my own spiritual medium, Jessica Rachel, who's been on the podcast once. She was in a podcast once to talk about what spirit guides are. And at another time, I featured a recording of one of my sessions with her. I shared a portion of that recording. So you're more than welcome to go take a listen to that as well. I will link those specific episodes in the show notes for you if you'd like to see what those were like. But anyhow, I booked my session with her and I had my meeting with her on Thursday, this past Thursday morning. And one of the things that is coming in loud and clear that I can't hide from my spirit guides. I may be able to, or want to, or think that I am showing up in this way to my audience, to my podcast, to my clients. But deep down, I'm not. And the one thing that they told me is that I really need to shine a light on myself, that I really need to step into my power and get on that stage and step up. And she said that they're saying that my spirit guides are saying that I'm walking in fear of what I have to offer, that I'm not fully like embracing that. And I said to her, how could that be possible? I know that my sessions are incredibly transformative. I have no doubt about that. There is no imposter syndrome in terms of that. I know my coaching sessions because they're very unique to me. It's coaching and combined with energy healing, combined with intuitive guidance and meeting with your spirit guides. It's a very, very intuitive and it's a bespoke session. It's very custom to each person and it's intuitive. But every single session will include some sort of coaching with healing, with energy shifting, and communicating with their spirit guides. I always call in the spirit guides and the client's higher self to help guide us in this coaching, in the coaching sessions and the healing sessions. As I said, I have no doubt that my sessions are transformative. I know that. I've seen it. I've been told. How can this be possible? And she said, no, no, no. They're not saying that you don't think your sessions are powerful. You know that, and they are. But you are afraid to show up and to share truly what is inside of you, to talk about your services, to talk about the transformation that they offer, to share that with others. You're not talking about it. And you have the perfect platform in this podcast. And I thought, oh, yeah, you are right. And she is right. They are right. The spirit guides are right. What comes up for me I'm just going to be fully honest here. I'm just going to remove this one layer, just like I like to do with my clients to help remove the layers, right? I'm going to remove this layer, as uncomfortable as it is for me here admitting to you on this platform, on this podcast, that yeah, I do not show up 100% authentically, because I am, to a certain degree, a little shy, a little bit afraid of what people are going to think of me when I talk so much about these coaching sessions where I call in the spirit guides and the healed ancestors and the ascended masters and all the beautiful beings of light that walk with each one of our clients each one of my clients when I'm working with them. And what it's like to what a session is like fully. So those are things that I don't believe that I've been fully transparent about. And sometimes I am, and sometimes I hold back. And even when I'm sharing on social media, I hold back. I really do. Oh man, this is hard. It's hard to say this because I am afraid of being judged. I am afraid of being burned at the stake again, right? Like in past lifetimes. Um, so those are fears that do come up. And this is me taking that step to step into that discomfort because my body is not yet used to that, and sit with it and allow it to just land on my body and start to feel comfortable with it. So this is that first step for me. And so what they're asking me to do is to shine a light on my session, to talk about what those sessions are like openly, to share that with you, to share what that transformation is like, and to do that on this podcast. So that's what I'm going to do. And I know I've heard many times, and I've heard many times in my sessions, not once, not twice, but many times, I've heard that my session, 30 minutes, 60 minutes of one session with me, has been more powerful and transformational than 5 years and thousands of dollars spent in therapy. And that is a huge statement. And I haven't heard that once. I haven't heard it twice. I have heard it multiple times. I have heard this many times. So I know that my coaching sessions are powerful and they're transformational. I have received text after text, email after email, message after message from clients after sessions with me that prove that. So I know internally I have that proof from my clients. But I guess if I'm not sharing them, how do you know, right? How does the rest of the world know? And this is very hard for me. It's hard for me to turn this mic on and toot my own horn. This is very hard for me. So here I am, just very slowly, in fear, taking the stage and shining a light on my services. So some of the things they've asked me to do is to share what my sessions are like, and then also to share transformational stories, to bring on clients onto the podcast to talk about what that transformation was like, but also maybe even invite clients to do a session with me, a recorded session, and then be able to share that. So I intend for that to come down the line very soon. If you're a former client and would like to share your story, please reach out. If you'd like to have a session and give me permission to share it on the podcast on both YouTube and on audio, reach out to me. Let's work something out. If you would prefer to remain anonymous, we can do that as well. We don't have to share the video portion of it, and we don't have to use your name. So we can do that as well. So if you're interested in that, I'd be open to that. Please reach out to me at sonia@sonia-flores.com, or DM me on Instagram so that we can schedule something together. So some of the sessions that I offer, just to kind of give you a quick little rundown, are I have one-on-one coaching sessions. These are powerful and transformational coaching sessions where I also use energy healing and channeled messages from the spirit guides to create the transformation. But because I'm a medium, I also have the ability to activate my client's own intuitive abilities. So that is something really beautiful for those who are open to that and are also intuitive. This has happened several times, and that's been beautiful to discover. I also offer just energy healing sessions alone. I do past life regression as well, and that's been really beautiful also. I'll do another episode on that. And then I do group energy healing meditations once a month approximately. And this will be on a variety of different topics. Sometimes it's to relieve anxiety and stress. Sometimes it's to embrace your divine feminine. So there's a number of different things. Sometimes it's to manifest, sometimes it's to let go of old energies and things that no longer serve us. So it's different each month. It's just whatever I'm feeling called to, whatever my guides are telling me to do is what I do. So you can sign up to be on the wait list for that on my website as well, sonia-flores.com. So today I'm going to talk about pranic psychotherapy and intuitive guidance sessions because I had a session on Friday that was really beautiful and really powerful. And I just thought to myself, okay, this is it. I need to share this. This is what I'm going to share. I'm going to share it while it's still fresh in my mind. So that's what we're talking about today. Now, most people don't know what a pranic psychotherapy session is. So what is that? Let's talk about that first. Pranic psychotherapy is the application of pranic healing, which is a no-touch energy system that utilizes the body's innate self-healing abilities. And we use the application of pranic healing to heal and alleviate emotional and mental imbalances. So pranic psychotherapy is energy healing that helps mental health, emotional and mental imbalances. Pranic psychotherapy can be used for extracting and disintegrating negative energies and patterns of problems such as tension, irritability, grief and anxiety, depression, compulsive behaviors, phobias, addictions like smoking, alcohol, drugs, food, sugar, sex, etc., and suicidal thoughts and ideations, just to name a few. And because I am a medium, a channel, my sessions are often accompanied by your spirit guide team, your ancestors, and or your higher self to guide us in your healing and delivering messages you need to receive. So I call in my own spirit guides and healing guides to help me, but I also call in your spirit guide team, your healed ancestors, your higher self, all the beautiful beings of the light that walk with you to help us in this healing session and in delivering messages that you may need to hear. So that is the gist of what a pranic psychotherapy session is. But I'm going to share with you what happened in a pranic psychotherapy session so that you understand what you might want to expect in a session when you book a session with me. So let's say you want to, whatever it is that you want to work on, whether it's stress or irritability, or you're having a lot of strong emotional feelings after a breakup maybe, or feeling grief, suffering with, depression or anxiety, suicidal tendencies, or self-esteem issues. So whatever it is, you would book a pranic psychotherapy session with me, and we agree to a date and a time. And these Pranic psychotherapy sessions with me are not live. I mean, they're not live on Zoom. We don't meet face to face. We don't meet in person. Energy travels. There is no barriers to energy, whether it's we could be miles away, we could be across the world from each other, we could be in the same room, we can be in separate rooms. It doesn't matter. Energy is energy. So we just agree on the time and the place, or the time and the day and the time. And I will then give you preparation instructions. Usually, what I like to suggest is that you prepare by taking a salt bath and for 20 minutes, no more than 20 minutes in a salt bath, and doing a meditation to help you get grounded. And then I also ask that you say an invocation that helps you to receive and accept the energy healing. So I send you an invocation to repeat to yourself before the scheduled time. It could be 15 minutes, 5 minutes before for the time of the session. And then I ask you to imagine yourself in a violet light, to set an intention for the session, and then to start to envision yourself in having already had this intention come true, come to life. I do prefer that you be lying down or sitting and relaxing, but it's not necessary. However, I strongly, strongly suggest that you're not operating heavy machinery like driving a car, because some people do get sleepy. And so this is why I like to do them either first thing in the morning or really late at night. And sometimes people schedule them while they're sleeping, and that's fine. They just need to do the preparation steps prior to going to sleep. And then I do the healing while they sleep, and that's fine. That works well. There doesn't need to be a communication between us aside from before of me delivering the preparation instructions, and then afterwards there's some communication as well. So that's how you would prepare for a session. You can be in bed, you can be sitting down, you could be, if you wanted to, reading a book or meditating or listening to music, uh, sleeping, whatever it is. I like to think of a pranic healing session as a massage. So just view it in that way. Like, how do you want to feel? Because it's going to make you feel very relaxed. And in some cases, like I said, it will make people sleepy. So then when I get started, I prepare my space as well. I prepare myself and my space. I light a candle, and I like to use a candle. Usually, I like to work with the Virgin Mary, and so I get a veladora with the Virgin Mary. Turn that candle on. I burn some sage in my space to just clear the energy, and then I light some Palo Santo to help to call in the spirit guides. I call in my spirit guides. I call in my higher self. I call in ascended masters. I call in healing guides. And I call in also the spirit guide team of my client and their higher self. Once we do that, then I begin the session, and that includes cutting cords. I cut cords from the front and the back of your energy fields. And then I start to clear the energy and the health rays from the energetic aura. I do that for a while. That usually takes a good 10 to 15 minutes, front and back. I go several times. And then I start to work on each chakra separately. Each of, I believe it's 7 chakras that we work on in a pranic psychotherapy healing. And that is the crown, the ajna, the throat, heart, front and back, solar plexus, front and back, and the basic chakra. These are the chakras that are involved in a pranic psychotherapy healing. and I cleanse each one of these chakras very, very thoroughly. I basically divide each chakra into 5 parts. I apologize, no, 6 parts. So 4 quadrants, and then the middle, and then the center that's attached to the meridian on the body. So I divide it into 6 sections, and I work on every individual section of that chakra. And what I mean by working on it is that I start disintegrating the negative energies, the negative thoughts, the negative thought forms, the traumatic thought forms, the fear thought forms, negative entities, and negative elementals in each one of these sections of this chakra. So it is very thorough, and this is done with divine pranic energy healing that is tapped in from the crown chakra, my crown chakra. So I have divine energy coming from the heavens, from the earth into my crown, and I tap into my crown energy and start working on each of these 6 sections of each of these chakras that I just mentioned. And what it looks like is I call in to I call in the negative energies to come to the surface. I'm sorry, I'm thinking through my head what the things that I say when I'm doing this. I call in those negative energies to come to the surface, and I freeze them. I ask them to freeze. So then they freeze in those spots. So then it gives me the ability to start to go in and with this divine pranic energy to start disintegrating them one by one, little by little. And these negative entities and elementals and all these negative thought forms look like little amoebas, like little worms, like little spots, dirt, little pieces of dirt in each of these chakras. So I go in and I start disintegrating those, and then I start scooping them out. And so that chakra gets completely cleansed of negative energies, negative thoughts, negative thought forms, which is once we've been once we have been giving our own negative thoughts so much thought, and we've given it so much energy, so much space in our minds, we actually start to give it life. It starts becoming a living entity. So that's what a thought form is once it starts creating consciousness. That's what it is. Once it starts creating consciousness, it becomes a thought form. So I eliminate the negative thought forms, I eliminate fear thought forms, and I eliminate traumatic thought forms. So these are fears and traumas that exist simply because we have given them thought, because we have spent so much thought, so much time and energy thinking about these traumas, thinking about these fears, and thinking about these negative thoughts and limiting beliefs that we've actually given them consciousness. So we go in and I work on those and eliminating those. And then we work on eliminating negative entities and elementals, which is, again, once they've become like their own consciousness, they're entities. And then the elementals are what gives our addictions life, basically. And though that is not something that we call in, all the others are things that we give life to. All the other negative energies, we allow them to live in our bodies. The negative thoughts, the fear thoughts, the trauma thoughts, we give those life and space in our own bodies. The elementals is just something that just kind of is. It's there, but we can eliminate them. So I go thoroughly through each one of these chakras, eliminate those. Once each chakra is beautiful and worked on, and I can feel that all that energy has been cleared, then I pour divine energy into them, into each one of those, and then I create a shield that will block that chakra for 3 days. So it protects negative energies from coming in. So what happens, okay, let me back up a little bit. It allows negative energies, whatever's still left in there, to continue pouring out because it takes time. There's a time lag a little bit with energy, so it takes a little bit of time for those to continue to exit the body, I kind of think of it as a detox, like an energy detox, like those are still leaving the body. Okay. But when we have negative energies, when we have those entities and thought forms in our chakras, it magnetizes more negative thoughts and energies to come in from other people, which is super normal for that to happen, to just encounter negative energies as we're going about our days. So when we have negative energies in our chakras, it's kind of like a magnet for more. So when it's still leaving the body, I create this shield to protect that chakra for 3 days while that energy is still exiting that body. The negative energy is still detoxing, but then it shields negative energy from coming in so that it actually allows that chakra to become completely cleansed and completely free of negative energy. So there's this shield that gets placed on each chakra for a duration of 3 days. And that shield gets protected as well from other negative entities and negative energies from coming in and trying to destroy it or deprogram it. So I program those shields as well to be protected so that only I can destroy them or reprogram them if necessary. So that takes place. And once each one of these chakras is completely cleansed, then I create a big shield that covers the entire energetic aura so that your entire body is protected, continuing to allow negative energies to leave and protecting from negative energies from coming in. And in the process of cleansing these chakras, sometimes they're stubborn and they don't want to be cleansed. So what this tells me is that there's cords attached. And sometimes I sense it as soon as I get to that chakra, I'm like, oh, there's a cord here. It's like I get a download. It's like the spirit guides tell me, oh, there's a cord on this one. Before you start working on it, remove the cord or cords. Sometimes there's more than one. And what cords are, they're energetic cords. And people in different modalities use cords differently. Okay. This is the way we work with cords in pranic healing. These are energetic cords from somebody else that get attached to your chakra or vice versa. And it's not good for either person because if if somebody else attached themselves, their energy to your chakra, that means that they're pulling your chakra away. They're depleting your energy. Okay. And it's not good for you because they're depleting your energy. And it's not good for them because they're taking on your energy. So there's nothing good about it. So we need to cut those cords. We cut those energetic cords. And if stepping back a little bit, if you heard me say, I first cut the cords when I first started working from your front chakras, your front energetic field, and from your back energetic field. I cut any cords that are attached there. And then I cut cords that are attached to each separate chakra if that is necessary, if those are there in existence. So that happens actually before the chakra can even be cleansed. Like if I'm working on the chakra and it's not getting cleansed, I know that there's a cord there. But lately what's been happening is that before I even start working on it, if I'm done working on the crown, I'm going to move on to the throat. Then I get a download saying, this one has a cord, remove it. And then I remove it. So what's happening is that I'm also getting a lot more help from my spirit guide team and your spirit guide team as I'm doing this healing of, before you try to spend 5-10 minutes working on this chakra, remove the cord. So what I'm saying is that my healings are becoming a lot more faster and more effective, quicker, because I am working with this big team that is helping me in, helping us to heal you. So once that is done, and through the process of going through this healing, your spirit guide team is here. Your healed ancestors are here. Whoever wanted to show up that particular day to help us in your healing is here. Whoever needs to give you a message is here to deliver a message. So I'll start getting messages of whatever it is that you need to hear. And sometimes it's about life. Sometimes it's about changes that you need to do. Sometimes it's like, hey, you need to journal this problem. Sometimes it's deeper than that. And it really has been a beautiful serendipitous practice. And just this is how I learned that I have psychic abilities is when I started doing healings and I started getting these messages. After a while, I finally started to think, okay, maybe I'm supposed to be giving these messages to them. They started to come through as kind of thoughts that just were popping into my head, like this, boom, like this knowing, like this download. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I thinking this? And the and then the more and more and more the thought just stayed with me for days. The more I started to think, maybe I'm supposed to deliver this message. And so the very first time that I did that, I called the client back, and after a healing 2 or 3 days later, I said, listen, I this thought popped into my head when I did your healing, and I didn't deliver this to you then, but I feel like I needed this, like this message was for you. And so I delivered the message, and this gentleman was like, yes, absolutely. This is what I needed to hear. This is what I needed to know is how I'm supposed to process this and work through this. And I gave him that message, which was basically the how. And he said, thank you. This is what I needed to hear. So that's when I knew, oh, I'm supposed to deliver this message. These are messages for them. I don't know where it came from or who or what, nothing. But I started becoming more conscious of that. I mean, I knew I was calling in healing guides and ascended masters, and so they were here. They were there. So, so that's what takes place there. So I start delivering those messages, and now I'm much more confident in that ability. And when these messages come through, sometimes I'll even speak out loud. Oh, okay, so they need to know this, they need to know that. Okay, great, let me speak it. Sometimes at the end of a healing, what I used to do is that I used to go back. There was a time when I used to write emails after every session and try to remember what happened in the session and write every detail of the healing session. They were called healing notes. I call them healing notes. And I would deliver these email written healing notes, and they would take forever. And so then I started to record what was coming through at the end of the healing. Then I would pop out my phone and I would start recording these healing notes and then just send them via text or send them, via email to the client. And then I started to realize that I was forgetting the details of the sessions. And I decided, well, what if I start recording as the session is happening? And I tried it and I loved it. So what I do is I start recording. If something starts coming through, it's like, okay, you need to tell this person this. Then I turn on my voice memo and I start recording. Hey, this is what's coming through. This is what's coming up. There's this message, blah, blah, blah. When I start speaking it, it's as if more messages continue to come through. It's as if they are communicating through me. And I'm just recording and I'm just speaking out loud what is coming through and recording it in the moment. And then I pause the voice memo. And then I keep going on the healing. And then when the next message starts to come through, I resume the recording and I keep going. And I have truly loved this because I feel like it allows for me, when I am channeling, the more I speak it out loud, the more messages keep coming through. It's as if it keeps activating it. It's as if the spirit guides are like, okay, yeah, she got it, she delivered it, it's like they're hearing me repeat it, so they know that I got it. They're like, okay, yeah, here's the next message, and here's the next message, and it's so beautiful, it's so cool. I absolutely love it. So anyhow, so then I record that and I tell them in the moment, okay, yeah, there was a cord attached to this and that, and this is what's happening, and this one was really murky, or this cord was really tough to cut. This cord feels really, really old. And I've had cords that have just felt like lifetimes old. It's like, okay, this this has been here for lifetime. This isn't even yours. This is generational. And so it's just really been a really beautiful experience and a really beautiful collaboration between client, myself, the spirit guides, their higher self, the ascended masters. It just really has been a beautiful experience of healing and just amazing. So then the messages conclude, the healing concludes, and then at the very end, I cut my cords. I just cut the cords between you and I. Cut 3 times. And I sage my space. I go wash my hands to wash off any energies that don't belong to me. And I turn off the candle. Sage the space, open up windows and just cleanse my area, cleanse myself. And then I send the healing notes via text to my client. And that's what happens. And it is the most beautiful and divine experience that I've had. And it just feels amazing. And I say it every single time. When you heal, I heal. When I aid a healing, because I'm not healing, I am just a vessel. I am just a vessel with in this it's just helping move that energy, because you set that intention. When you book a session with me, when you provide your energetic exchange, which is in the form of finances or in the form of exchanging for a coaching program or for whatever it is, when we do an even energy exchange, you're setting your intention and that gets to work like immediately. So I'm just a vessel. I'm just the channel that is calling in your healing guides and your spirit guides and your higher self to aid. Because, like I mentioned at the top of the podcast episode, as a coach, as a healer, as a channel, I also need my own coaches and healers and channels. So that is what happens in a session. Now, once this session concludes and I send off the healing notes, then I ask that you not shower or pour running water through your face or your body for 24 hours. This helps for that divine energy that I poured onto your chakras and your body to completely absorb into your body. So when you run water, when you shower before that, right after or within those first 24 hours, it's almost as if you're washing off that divine energy that was just poured into you. It doesn't give it enough time for it to absorb into your body. So there's a little bit of a lag there. So we need to give it enough time to absorb. So I ask that you not shower or run water on your face for 24 hours. Now, obviously, we need to brush our teeth and clean our face. So this is why I ask that you shower or bathe in salt water before the session, so that you do have 24 hours to do that. So don't go swimming, don't go cold plunging, because you're going to wash off that energy in the first 24 hours. And within those 24 hours, then you can use, a wet towel to just like dab your face, so that you're not pouring water and just washing it off. So you can cleanse, but I just ask that you not run water over your body and face, or that you sit in the bath or anything like that for 24 hours. 12 would be the absolute minimum. If you can pull off 24, please do. And that's what happens. And then after that, I've been told by some people, some intuitive and sensitive, really highly sensitive people, that they feel that session can take up to 2 weeks to fully do its full effectiveness, if you will, to experience the full effectiveness of the session. So that was really great information for me to know, because it doesn't just like, oh, you're transformed in one day. It's almost as if there's a process, because many times what happens with this is a psychotherapy. This is pranic psychotherapy. It's happening through energy. Many times with these traumas and these fears that you've had that could be dating way back to when you were a child, memories start to come up. There may be things that you thought, oh my gosh, I thought I already worked through this. Why am I thinking about this? Why are these memories coming up? Your dreams may become very vivid. It may feel a little bit scary and, you know, like what's happening to me. So it's just those old energies and memories coming out. They're just releasing from your body. They're just leaving your body. There hasn't been an opportunity for those to get processed out of your body. And this is the chance. This is when it happens. And with a pranic psychotherapy session, I've been told that up to 90 that they can be up to 90% effective or within one session. That's what I'm trying to say, that they could be up to 90% effective within one session. So if you're suffering from depression or some sort of emotional mental imbalance, one session will make amazing difference. Some people like to do several. Some people like to keep up with them over time. And, they use it for energetic cleansing, especially for people who are running big programs or are being exposed to a lot of people, a lot of eyes, a lot of energy. This is a really great way to keep yourself energetically cleansed. So that's what happens. I love to ask for feedback. I love to receive information back from my clients as to whether the messages that I'm delivering are resonating. Do they make sense? Do they not? And I'm just in general, I'd like to hear what's coming up for them, how they're doing. So that's what happens in a session. Now, I want to share with you a few examples of what clients' sessions looked like and what they said about it. So, some testimonials. So one of the clients that I'm working with, who comes to me regularly for sessions, she's running a program where she opens containers for a certain type of coaching. And it's a very spiritual experience. It's a very sacred container that she opens. And there's one that in particular that I've been interested in that has been calling to me for the last month or two that she's opening up this weekend. And I just never got around to, I just kept thinking, do I have the time to take it right now? Is it the right time for me to take it or not? And I finally, I didn't sign up for it. The container closed. But on Thursday, after I had my session with my psychic medium, with Jessica Rachel, I got the message that afternoon. I know it's closed, but text her to see if she would be open to allowing you in. And so I texted her and I said, hey, I know the container's closed. I would love to join. If it's not possible, that's okay. I will wait for next year's cohort to open. But I'm ready to make the full financial investment today if you will have me. And as soon as I hit send, I got this download. Offer an energetic exchange other than money. And I thought, oh my gosh. Well, she's a regular pranic healing client. So I just said, hey, I'm ready to make this financial investment, this energetic financial exchange. However, if you would like, if you're open for it, and you can still take me into this cohort, maybe we can do an energetic exchange where I provide you with several pranic psychotherapy healing sessions, and I join you in your container. Totally up to you. I'm feeling called to share that with you. And of course, she immediately was like, yes. And it just has been a really beautiful collaboration. And so we did that. And then I got this ping. And so then I asked her, hey, let me know when you would like your session. And so she asked me, what is your next availability? Now, this is a Thursday. Her container's opening on today, which is the day of the recording, and which is yesterday, if you're listening to this on the day that it went live. And I don't usually do sessions. So this is Thursday. I don't usually do sessions on Fridays or over the weekend. I usually do them in the mornings or in the evenings because of how I like for people to prepare and relax. So it makes it very conducive for very early morning or late evening or night sessions. And I don't hardly ever do sessions in the middle of the day. But something told me offer her a daytime session on Friday. So I said, well, I can make myself available during the day, Friday, or if not, it could be morning or evening on the Tuesday or Thursday of the following week. And I really felt that because she was opening this new coaching cohort today, it just felt in the moment, I just started getting these downloads that, okay, she's been working hard on putting all this information out. There needs to be a cleanse and for her to like start receiving now. Like, yes, there's going to be a lot of pouring out, but also receiving from the guides, and like there just needs to be a cleanse. It just felt like this. There needs to be like this is the line. This is the finish line for this part, and this is also the start line for this next chapter. And this is the perfect opportunity to do this energy healing. And so I offered that to her, and of course she said, yes, let's do it. It just feels like the right time. It feels like a good time to do this. So I did the session on her, and her session was just so beautiful. I mentioned that I like to work with the essence and the energy of the Virgin Mary. So I get a veladora with the Virgin Mary on it. So I had it in my space. I lit it up. I'm saging my space. I'm preparing. I'm calm. I've got my Om chanting music going. And I'm walking back and forth, getting my water from the kitchen to my healing space. And I happen to walk by a bookshelf that's right at the entrance of my healing space. And there's this book that just kind of tilted over ever so slightly where these little some little papers were falling out of the book as I was starting, as I was getting ready for this healing. I noticed it and I thought, oh, that's really weird. This book hasn't moved it's never moved. I've never seen what is in it, right? So I grabbed the book and I opened it up. I was like, oh my gosh. It was all these little postcards of like little saints and little memorial little pamphlets of people who I love. And there was one big one, like a 4x6 picture of the Virgin Mary. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about this one. It's beautiful. I said, I'm gonna pull this out. And I put that book back with I left all the other little saint papers in there, and I grab the Virgin Mary one, and I was turning around because I was like, I'm gonna go put this on my desk because I want her near me when I'm working. And immediately I heard, nope, you need to take that with you. I said, okay. So I'm walking back to my healing space, and before I get to the seat where I sit to do my healings, I walk by this little table. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put it right here until I figure out what I'm supposed to do with it. And as soon as I put it down, I heard, no, take it with you, put it right next to where you're sitting. I said, okay. So I went and I put it on the table right next to, where all my other stuff is, my sage, my palo santo, my candle, my lighter. I just put it right there next to my little altar, if you will, my healing altar. And so I left it there. And as I was doing this healing on her, I'm noticing, oh my goodness. And no, when I called in her spirit guide team and the team that needed to be here for this particular healing, I saw this beautiful angel figure guide come in from above. And she was really tall and really big in presence and really beautiful with this long hair. And she came in with her arms like this. If you're watching me on YouTube, down like this with their palms up, but on the sides, with their open palms to the side like this, and standing up really tall, chest out, with her head really standing tall, really her forehead really up high, and just mighty. She just felt so beautiful, and just so fierce, and just this beautiful, just powerful energy she felt. And the word that kept coming to me was leader. Leader, you're a leader. You're leading all these people. Not leadership in the, for lack of a better word, or maybe not in a colonial way, but a leader as in a guide, a seer, like just this beautiful presence of a feminine guide. And so that came in, and I shared that in the recording. And then I turned around at some point and I looked at the Virgin Mary picture, and then I looked at my Virgin Mary candle, and I thought, of course, it's this feminine power. It's this feminine, like I need to let her know that the Virgin Mary's here. And I don't know if she's Catholic, if she practices any religion, if she has any connection to, the Virgin Mary, Mother Mary. I don't know any of this. All I know is the Virgin Mary essence is here, and I need to tell her. So I share that in the audio. And then as soon as I share that, I turn around and I look to the other side of my space. And in this little corner, I have this print that I recently picked up on a trip to Seattle from this local artist. And it is the picture of the woman, of the guide that came in, the exact pose in which she came in. Not the same exact way, because in this print, she is in it's her naked body, and it's, her breasts are exposed. But in this guide that came in, when I called in the guide, she's wearing this long dress. But the pose, and the chest up and the head up, the essence, the powerful essence, was that was reflected in that picture. And I just thought, oh my God, this is so beautiful. I said, this is it. It's this feminine power, but not, like I said, not a power in this colonial way, but in this beautiful guiding way. And the message I kept getting is, you are stepping into this new essence, into this new space where you are this big, powerful, feminine, divine energy that's guiding many people. And it's coming in now, and it's coming in strong. I mean, I had the spirit guide, I had the two Virgin Marys next to me, I had that other print, that beautiful, powerful essence. And I just said, oh my goodness, this is incredible. And so that's the message that I got in that moment. I had other messages that came through, but this is the essence that came in. And so I recorded that as I went along, and of course shared more of what was coming through in terms of messages for other, for that were coming throughout. And I delivered that to her, and it just was so beautiful. I finished up, I cleansed my space, I cleaned my energy, cut our cords, delivered the message. And it was absolutely divine. And I delivered the message, and I said, when you're ready, I would love to hear how this resonates with you and what comes forth for you. And within 15 minutes, I received a text back from her. And this is what her text said. Dear, thank you for sharing your gifts with me, and for this beautiful cleansing and transmission. Thank you for trusting what you heard, and for reaching out to me. Yes, all of this resonates. I saw her and I felt her before you started. She has been speaking to me loudly, and so many confirmations here. Thank you for trusting your gifts to be able to receive and communicate with the spirits in this way. Beautiful. I'm just, it makes me so, it fills me up with just joy to be able to aid with messages that way. And she's very intuitive, and she also receives messages. But like I said, healers need healers, coaches need coaches, intuitives need intuitives. We all need to support each other at times. It is very hard. It is not. Let me take that back. It is not very hard. Sometimes it is difficult for me to receive clear messages for myself, especially when it's something that I'm really invested in emotionally. It's hard for me sometimes to discern, is this a yes or a no? What are you telling me to do? So I bring in support from my friends, from my psychic mediums, my intuitive friends. What's coming through? What do you hear? What do you see? And so then they help me with those messages, and they help me discern what I'm supposed to be hearing. And this was the case for her. So number one, Virgin Mary had been showing up for her, speaking to her loudly. And me delivering this message was just confirmation. And she did say that she feels that she's been at the precipice of something completely new and big coming through. So this was just that confirmation that yes, it is moving in that direction. So from here, she can trust those messages as well, right? She knows, okay, confirmation, I know what I need to do next. Maybe there's things that she may need to change in order to be able to fulfill that. But this is how we help each other out in this way. So that is one way a pranic psychotherapy session can go. Here's another example. A dear friend, Linda Garcia, who has a beautiful coaching program for investing in stocks for communities of color. She has a book, and she's doing some beautiful work. She's running for office in Texas. So many of you may know her, because I know that a lot of listeners, we know some of the same people, and I know that some of the people that follow her are following me as well. So you know her and are aware of who she is. If not, look her up. She's amazing. So Linda called me for an emergency pranic psychotherapy session about a huge pain that she was feeling on her back. Being that she's intuitive as well, she knew that she felt that it was something emotional, and she got this ping to call on me to help her out. So I worked on her. I did a pranic psychotherapy session. I may have even done what I call them. It's a master healing, which is an advanced pranic technique. And sometimes I use a combination of things. But this is what happened is I did the healing on her, managed the energy in her body, moved it around, cleared it, put in new energy, and did the whole thing. And it was very straightforward and very simple. There were no messages and downloads coming through. It just seemed very straightforward, and it just felt like I was just cleansing negative energy and moving things around to help her with her pain. And this is a testimonial that she gave me based off of that healing. Well, let me start by telling you first that she immediately texted me back and said, it's gone. She was in excruciating pain. She had excruciating pain on her back. And she said, when you got done, it was gone. That pain is gone. And it's emotional, and I know where it came from. And she said to me, and so this is a testimonial she gave me for that. She says, I've been working with Sonia for years. I trust her not just with my own energy, but with my son and partner. Here's one of many experiences with Sonia. I was in a panic. During the healing, I got really clear on what was taking place. All of a sudden, I felt calm. I started to feel my heart expand. I started to feel so much love and gratitude for growth. I remembered that the old me is going to try to slow me down, and that's the back pain. a switch flipped, and I move on. It was done. Thank you so much, Sonia. So sometimes it can be that fast, that quick. Another example. Here's another client, and her mom is bipolar and schizophrenic, or schizophrenic. I'm not 100% sure. But her mother refuses to take medication. And my client is at her wit's end. Her and her siblings are just having a really hard time. Like they just don't know what to do because she'll have these psychotic breaks, and yet she doesn't want to be treated the way Western medicine believes she needs to be treated. And so it's been rough. And this has been happening for many years, if not her whole entire life. But she called me once in an emergency and said, my mom is having a psychotic break. Can you help? And so immediately I was like, yeah, sure. Let's do it right now. I dropped what I was doing. I was at work and I'm self-employed, so I can do that. I dropped what I was doing in that moment, went and created my space. And I wasn't even sure like what kind of healing I was going to do on her. But I just kind of started working on her, and I started like a really regular pranic healing. And I was like, no, this isn't it. Like in that moment, I just felt like, no, I need to do a pranic psychotherapy session. And I did this pranic psychotherapy session. And I believe this is the first time she had ever experienced a pranic psychotherapy session with me. Or, not her directly, but like this is the first time I exposed her to it because she had done the standard pranic sessions with me. And so I did that, and it just felt right. It felt like it was the right thing to do. And I did this session on her, and it just felt right and it felt good. And I finished, and I texted her and I said, okay, love, the healing is done. And she texted me immediately and told me that she was completely calm. It had completely passed through. And she said, this has never happened before. Usually when she goes into a psychotic break, it's like a whole 24-hour process. And it throws everybody's lives upside down for those 24 hours because they're trying to keep her safe and trying to figure out what to do, but not, she doesn't want Western medicine or, they're at their wits end, right? And she said, as soon as you got done, and this was a fast and quick healing that happened. And as soon as I texted her, it was amazing. And I told her, okay, hon, the session is done. She said, wow, she's calmed down that fast. She goes, I've never seen this happen before. So that's, again, the power of what a pranic psychotherapy session can do for people. Now, my favorite thing to do to help with what pranic psychotherapy can do is helping moms whose young ones are experiencing depression, low self-esteem, and withdrawal or mental health issues of that sort. I call these desperate moms. When they call me about their sons, and the wild thing is that it's only ever been sons, it's never been daughters that they call me about. And there's something to that because I only have sons. And so I understand these desperate moms. I've been there. And so I have one who contacted me, and it's very odd. She's a masseuse, and she's my masseuse. And she knows that I do energy healing. I've shared what I do with her. And that particular day, I had a massage scheduled with her. And she didn't text me the day before or that morning to confirm my massage, which was very odd because she always did. And so I texted her and I said, hey, I just want to make sure we're good. Are we good? Are we on for the massage? Are you okay? And she said, I'm so sorry. I haven't even had a chance to text you. She goes, I can't keep this appointment. And then she just poured out into me and told me what her son was going through. Her son was 10 years old, had all of a sudden started going through this really low self-esteem period. And just really, she says she felt he was starting to fall into a depression and didn't want to do anything and just didn't believe in himself and just was speaking very negatively about himself, and she's just like, I don't know what to do. And he was having a really bad morning that particular day, and sometimes he didn't even want to go to school. So she was having a really hard time, and she's sharing this with me. And I said, you know what? Let me do a session on him right now. And so I did a pranic psychotherapy session on him, and I gave her homework. I gave her homework for what she needed to do to help him raise his self-esteem every single day. I said, this is what you're going to do every single day for 5 minutes straight. You don't even have to do it in front of him. In fact, don't do it in front of him. Do it once he goes to school and you're home alone. Imagine him standing in front of you. This is all energy. It's all energy. So if you can imagine him standing in front of you, he is. And your words are very powerful. Our words are powerful. So start to tell him, you are courageous. You are smart. You are all the positive things that you need him to know and to hear that are opposite from what he's currently telling you or telling himself. All those positive things, start pouring those onto him. This is the power of our words, people. When we wish something upon somebody else, oh, it lands on them and it affects them. So if you wish wrongdoing on somebody, oh, believe me, it works. If you're wishing that upon them, that energy is landing on them. That negative energy is landing on them, but it's also bouncing back to you. So keep that in mind. So I gave her homework every single day. Do this at least 5 minutes a day straight, and just fill them up with those positive affirmations and those positive thoughts and positive thought forms every day. And after about a week, she texts me and she says to me, I got my son back, with cry emoji and hearts. Thank you so much. My son is back. And that, oh, I could cry. That is a miracle to me. When we can help the little ones, when we can help the young ones, I have a very soft spot in my heart for the kids who are experiencing these horrible mental health issues. And so another mom, her 15-year-old son was withdrawing from the family, feeling low on himself, feeling low self-esteem, negative thoughts, fighting with his siblings. And she booked a session with me. She was referred to me by another client. And so she was referred to me. And so I did a pranic psychotherapy session. Some messages came through for things that she needed to do for him, things that she needed to remove for him. And just like a few messages that came through, but I did a pranic psychotherapy session. And then she sent me a message. And this is what it said. And she's allowed me to use this as a testimonial. It says, update on my son. As you said, as soon as he woke up the morning after the healing, I could tell the difference. He was cuddly and kept telling me he loved me, something he hadn't done in what I felt like a really long time. For a long time, it was like I didn't know what happened to my little sweet boy. And when I would share, people would just tell me it was developmental. I tried supplements, adjusting screen time, talk therapy, burning energy, sage. And yet, as a mother, I felt like there was a deeper level that I couldn't reach. The desperation was real. I am happy to report that he's dancing again and seems lighter. He's way, way, way less negative. He used to say being negative was his hobby. He is affectionate again. He hasn't played the gaming console since the day before the healing. He doesn't even care about watching TV. He hugged his little brother and told him he's a precious baby boy. Just so much. And while it's a lengthy update, you should know how much you've helped restore normalcy and better balance in our family.
My husband sees the shift as well. I hope you have a beautiful week, and I look forward to everything you're pouring out into the world. I mean, how can you not? How can I know my sessions are powerful, but I guess what I'm telling myself now is like, how can I not share this? So I'm glad I'm sharing this. So that concludes our episode for today. What pranic psychotherapy healing session is, what happens during a session for me, for you, uh, examples of what it could be used for, testimonials and texts from people who have texted me and sent me messages over the years. So I'd like to offer you now for the month of September a 50% off of pranic healing and pranic psychotherapy healing sessions, of course, accompanied by any intuitive guidance that may come through. So for the month of September only, 15% off. You can use the discount code September15, all caps, September15 at checkout. I'll link the pranic psychotherapy healing session in the show notes and also a link to all my other services if you're interested in taking a look. Please, please, please reach out to me if you have any questions at sonia@sonia-flores.com or DM me at Modern Latina in Midlife. Thank you so much for being here. Hasta la próxima.